concrete. So we've got alignment pins. That's what this bolt in the concrete is. Pretty simple with the valve vault, but it makes more sense with the wet well when you're trying to get cores lined up. We've got these pins, and then on the receiving side is a little bracket where it slides into a slot. And so
are you moving your cursor around?
Sorry, yeah, here's at the bottom. This bolt coming out of the concrete.
If you the cursor move.
Yeah, I don't see a
4888.
Oh, maybe I'm moving it too fast and it's blurry.
No, we're not seeing a cursor
but
at all.
But can you see this picture though?
Maybe blow up on that.
Yeah, I highlighted a picture that you're talking about.
Oh, you're talking about that one.
Focus in.
Let me see. Are you seeing this top slab with Victorville stenciled on it?
Yeah.
Okay. So yeah.
Right, yeah.
Oh, are you seeing both my screens? Sorry, I'm not.
Let me see one screen. Yeah, you have a dual screen. Bring it to the.
I think you gotta. You only share your folder. You only see your folder.
Oh, okay. 1 second
Yeah.
then.
Yeah.
Let's fix that. Come on. Let me try again.
So if you have a multi-screen, you could choose which one you want to share.
How's that?
Yeah, right, there you go.
Okay. So you see, you're only seeing just this photo?
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay, so this is the top slab. This bolt down here at the bottom, protruding from the concrete, is 1/2 of our alignment process. We'll hopefully see. Yeah, here's a bracket at the top. So for the wet well, it'll make more sense. For the valve vault, obviously a square, a rectangle goes on a rectangle only one of two ways, but that bolt will slide, kind of get pinned in and slide down. And that helps alignment on the wet well. So here's an example of the wet well, the bottom piece having this bracket, and then the top piece will have that pin and slide right in, and that gets all the cores clocked in the right direction.
Well,
So we.
What's that even?
For the back photo that we saw there's pipe installed, that will be waterproof at the factory.
So there was pipe on that first photo, and it showed.
Previous one.
Yeah.
Oh, here. So yeah, the valve vault inside is already prefabricated. So you'll have these protrusions. You'll get all your elevations set for the wet well first, and then you'll dig next to it and set your valve vault, just getting your base elevation matched with your discharge piping. Let me see what else I can show you.
With all the penetrations that you have there, are they already waterproof?
No, they won't be waterproof. So you'll have the valve vault, yes. The wet well, no. Because you'll have to assemble the discharge piping and install corn seals around that piping in the wet well. But the valve
Do you
vault,
supply the sealant?
Yep. The corn seals for the piping is supplied. All the sealant for the concrete is supplied, and our advisor will help instruct on how to apply that. So yeah, inside these cores, once the wet well's stacked, that's when you'll be able to assemble the discharge piping to come out of here, and then you'll install the corn seal. We'll get to a couple of those pictures. I'll show you the piping and everything. So this should be.
Do you have the penetrations for the concrete? The conduit for electric sensors and power?
No, we don't core for electrical conduit because it's really hard to know where they need to go based on the location of the control panel. So we leave that into the scope of the electrician to core conduits.
And how many penetrations are there for electric contractors?
So in this system, let me
for like the sensors, the powers, any communications?
Yeah, no, we do have in our notes, our electrical notes, they're in our submittal. So we recommend having 1 2-inch conduit for each pump. So that's 2 2-inch conduits for pumps. And then 1 1-inch conduit for our level sensing.
Okay, so 3 total.
3 total.
What's the
We can go.
thickness of the wall?
That's, I don't know that off the top of my head. I
Okay,
think
5 or
it's,
6 inches.
yeah, 5 6 inches or so. So one thing too to note in our control panel, let me try to find a picture of it, is inside the control panel, we have an intrinsically safe space for floats. Well, in this one, it doesn't seem, but level sensing will come up into the bottom of the control panel on the left side. And then your cables for pumps come up into these terminals on the right-hand side. So that's one thing to note, just that way you're not crossing conduits, coming up in a weird spot and having to cross cables. Does that make sense?
Yep, you got 2 sensors, high, low?
Yeah, and this, we do have,
Now that's all in one package though, going down in the wet well, correct?
what do you mean?
It'll be 1 1-inch conduit going to the wet well for the high-low sensor, right?
Yeah, the level sensing will all come into one conduit. And so yes, we have 2 floats, it looks like. We have a pressure transducer as the primary level sensing, and then 2 floats for backup level sensing. They can all share that 1-inch 1-inch conduit.
Okay, and then the 2-inch conduits for the pumps would both go
just
to
2 of them, and you put them, core your holes wherever it makes sense to get to the control panel. And the one thing we ask, if you're looking at this picture, is to try to get a couple inches below the joint of the top slab, and that way there's just solid concrete under above it. You're going through solid concrete and not trying to get through the joints and the sealants.
a couple inches below top.
Yeah, just below that top slab joint, which, it'll lay on here like this. There'll be sealants inside it, and if you just get right below it, and we'll leave it up to you as to where you need to do it to get to the control panel in the easiest path of least resistance.
Do you guys provide the cabling down to the pumps, or is that on us and then the Kellum grid?
No, the cables are with the pumps.
Okay.
And so one part of our startup, we deliver pumps and level sensing and install them at startup. The reason being, we need our technicians will do some inspections and testing before they get lowered down. But when they're installed, we'll need electrician to pull cables through conduits and terminate into the control panel. And then that essentially will be the end of electric scope.
That can be done in one day, and that's also including commissioning, programming, certification of the system.
Our startup, we typically allot 2 days. The first day being getting the pumps, level sensing installed. We'll start getting them terminated in the control panel. We'll do some functionality testing, making sure things are acting as they're supposed to. We fill the wet well up a couple times, make sure the pumps are performing as they're supposed to. And then the second day, we'll do any cleanup and go through the punch list of any small items and programming that might need to happen. And then we'll do training, operation and maintenance training for the final owner or whoever needs to be trained in operating the pump station. We'll do that on the second half of the second day. So startup, we allot for 2 days.
All right, what's the cell phone data transmission communications for? Alarming or?
Yeah, the SCADA alarms are for, it looks like we have a pump watch system built by Primex. And so if the city of Victorville is going to be the owner of this station, they'll have to set up and activate an account for this pump watch system, which essentially just dials a cell phone number, and through text message or a robot voice will alarm the operator as to what's happening with the system. And so we'll need this account set up ahead of time to verify that it's working when we get to startup.
Just a notification then?
Yeah,
Is
they're notifications. There's no capability of controlling the system through this pump watch. It's just an alarm service.
Not even an emergency shutdown?
I don't believe so. I'd have to double check on that answer, but I don't
Sure.
think there's a way to control this remotely.
Sure, bottom of the control panel, so Christian Bell needs to also make a conduit coming up
For,
for the sensors.
Yeah.
I think that's a power,
One
but.
on the left side, one is on the
So-
left
that should-
side.
So
Sensor.
we make penetration.
Yeah,
Two of
left side's penetrations is the 1-inch conduit for level sensing. We'll have 2 floats in the pressure transducer, and then 2 conduits. I'm not sure what this thing is here, but 2 conduits over here for the pump cables.
That thing there looks like it could be something. Is there a generator tie-in right there possibly?
There could be. We don't usually put the receptacles at the bottom of the control
At the
panel.
bottom, yeah.
That's-
You guys do tie in that generator receptacle though as part of the panel, right?
We usually have it on a
There it
separate.
is on the side.
Yeah,
You guys install that?
that'll
It
be
should
part of the
come-
control panel.
No, it should
when
come
you-
with it.
Yeah,
It's
when
already
you
there.
when you get the control panel, that receptacle will be there.
I have one more electrical question. The valve vault that gets set next to the wet well, is there any electrical that needs to go to that vault or any sensors or anything there?
So yeah, here's that receptacle on the side. You can see it exists.
Okay.
The schematics are shaped differently, but it does exist there. The valve vault. Let's look at the valve vault. I don't think the valve vault has anything in need of power.
Stay right there. Can you go to one screen?
Which one was it?
Plan,
This one?
there, one plan, yeah, right there. So
Okay.
above is non-hazardous location. Below is a hazardous location. Is that a explosion-proof area or?
Yeah.
how's
So
the,
so this
you know, the
line.
seal?
This line dictates the separation between the wet well and the control panel. So per the NEC, our stance is the NEC requires seal offs into the control panel. So keep that in mind when you're installing these conduits. We like to see seal offs. My engineers like to see seal offs in the conduit coming up into the control panel. So this would, a lot of this will be underground until you pop up and get into the control panel. And it looks like we missed the level sensing conduit, but there should be one there. So these are the 2 pumps. And then
Well,
level
the sensors are low volts, so they're not treated as a power or explosion-proof category, so.
No, but we still like to see seal offs because it
I would
helps.
still put it on.
Yeah,
I'd
it
still
helps
put it on
keep
1 inch.
it keeps the moisture and humidity out of the control panel from the wet well.
Sure. I have one dumb question. Where is the control panel is sitting on? How you attach that to the lift station?
So
Concrete pad or?
let
Where?
me find you a picture. I think so. We typically the control panel location and installation we leave to the electrician. Sometimes it moves around. Sometimes
Yeah, sometimes you have a wall to mount it on.
sometimes you
there's
can mount it to a wall. but,
That's the installation I'm figuring right there. Yeah,
okay, yeah, here on, Unistrut assembly,
We'll be doing that today.
you just get,
Oh,
Concrete pad, we probably need a concrete pad or so?
Yeah.
Okay.
yeah, put it,
That's RFI, let's send it out.
yeah, put a small concrete pad and then
So the control panel comes with these brackets,
we won't supply the Unistrut
okay, that's
brackets.
us then.
Yep.
That's, okay.
Like doing with, stuff on it.
Yeah.
You can do that.
I can do that, yeah.
All right, any electrical question?
Well, that vault, I just wanted to verify there's no sensors or anything at the valve vault.
Yeah, let me look into the valve vault. I think the only thing we have in there is a pressure gauge.
Pressure gauge.
We don't have, I don't think we have any flow meters or anything. So I don't think there's any electrical needed in the valve vault. The only thing we've got is a pressure gauge and valves operated by an op nut. So no, at this moment, well, it's 2.8. Pipes
All right,
10.
for plumber,
Yeah,
all these blue items, do you supply them?
yeah, we'll supply the drain back into the wet well. We just,
No,
we
I'm
can't,
looking at the part list, 1 to 1.40. You supply every single one of them, including conduits?
on, are we looking at? One, two,
Yeah, 1 to 1.40 on the right on the part list. Well, actually, some of them you bring it, pressure transducers and all that.
so looking at this drawing, everything in blue is supplied, but not
Okay.
prefabricated.
No, it says some of them are pre-assembled too.
Yeah, so the discharge elbows, all this in black here, pre-assembled to the base.
So we have a blue, we need to put them together.
Yeah, so let's go back, let's get through these pictures and I'll show you. So those are pumps. So here's the discharge elbows being assembled. We do pressure testing. So the valve vault's all going to be assembled inside. We've got the core and the
Drains.
drain back. We've got it cored, but the drain back piping underneath it won't be assembled because we can't set it on a flatbed and ship it like that. So that will be installed in the field.
Sure.
Um,
Do you provide a PVC pipe?
Yep, all that's provided, supplied. Our drop bowl is already installed. Discharge pipe brackets installed. This taped up are the clamps to be used. You know, we pre-assemble gaskets, elbows, and flanges as far as we can to make sense for shipping and installation. Here are the operating extension arms for the valves. Your odor hog for the vent pipe. I believe this PVC is the vent pipe.
P-trap too?
The P-trap is somewhere in here, yeah. And then your discharge pipe, bolt kit, gaskets, nuts and bolts. This is the upper guide bar bracket that'll go into the nut rail in the hatch, and then your stainless steel piping as your pump guide rails will be installed in the field. We typically ship those long so that you can cut them to length. Every now and then it's hard to get exact on the drawings. Concrete is not always perfect. This is a weighted cable that will serve the floats. So that can be installed at startup. There's no
By you guys, yeah.
Yeah, there's no necessity just to install it before startup. So if that just gets set aside, that's not something you guys have to worry about. Here's the core and seal boots that will be installed once you get your piping through all the cores.
You said you're gonna bring pumps at the startup too, right?
Yeah, we will either ship them right before startup is scheduled, or depending on how my technician wants to get down there, he might bring them in the truck, his own truck if he drives, but they will be there. We typically like to hold on to them as long as possible, just so that we make sure we're storing them right and they don't get installed without us, but they will be there before startup. And they won't be installed and lowered into the wet well until our startup technician is there.
Sure. Who's your
Um,
designated startup guy or engineer?
It'll probably be Tom Duclos. We've got two guys, but it'll probably be Tom.
We need them for 1 day for set, and we need them 2 days for the startup in the end.
Yeah. We schedule startup for 2 days, and on the second day we do operations and maintenance training with the final owners, the right personnel, whoever are going to be on paying attention to this system over time.
Okay.
Just so I'm the electrical contractor. I just want to
Yep.
make sure I have my scope clear.
Yep.
Well, will get delivered out there. It'll get set. After it's set, I will pour two 2-inch holes, one 1-inch hole into the well, just a few inches below the top joint slab. And then I'll run those back to the control panel location, keeping the low voltage on the left side, power on the right side. We'll build a rack for the control panel. We'll run those conduits through some seal locks up into the control panel. We then will wait for the startup tech to come out. And then when he comes out, he will lower the pumps down.
No, we'll need, he's just going to be by himself. So we'll need, the
So
installing
I'll need our-
contractor to have a crane or boom truck or some sort of mechanism to lower the pumps. That doesn't sound like something that would be in the electrical contractor scope.
Okay.
Yeah,
But
the-
I typically anyone we've done, we typically just pull cable to it.
Yeah.
and
Yeah. I don't
everything else is- Okay.
typically see the electrician being responsible for lowering the pumps. That's
Yeah, I'll
typically
get
our
to the
installing
rate
contractor.
sheets on that. So those are 5 horsepower, right? So about 150, 200 pounds, something like that. But anyway, we'll get it's a right console scope. You lowered it down. And I give you a mechanical installation recommendation and the plumbing recommendations. I give you the electrical recommendations to you. Okay, any other questions?
Yeah, well,
Oh, so-
just to clarify and finish up that question. Yeah, the last part of the electrician's scope is going to be pulling cable and terminating to the control panel on the first day of startup.
And yes, we do that the first day of startup with your tech. Okay.
Yep, and then stick around for a bit, make sure everything's working. He'll test the floats and test the pumps on the ground, then they get lowered, do another test, and then pretty much that's typically when you guys can wipe your hands and be done.
I appreciate that. Do we know what size cable and conductors, or what size conductors we're pulling for each of those?
Yeah, so the pumps are about 1/2 inch diameter. Or so I think these pumps have 2 different cables coming off of them. One of them is power, one of them is sensors in the pump, the seals, and I forget the other one. But it looks like 0.85 inches plus another 0.5 inches. And so based on, or this is the recommended table, 2-inch conduit. So they're kind of all tied together. So you'll be pulling essentially one big cable. This is in our submittal. If you don't have it, I can send it off to Jay.
Okay, no,
I
I do have it.
Okay.
Did Victorville had your system before, right?
Say that again?
City of Victorville had your system somewhere else before, right?
Yeah, we do have.
Remember
we've
the
had-
10th Street?
Yeah. yeah, we've had projects in the past. We're working on another one with Victorville currently too. So
Do they have a standby a generator ever?
I don't remember. I'd have to look into that. I haven't been with Romtech for a long time, so I'd have to look back on those projects, because that's another thing. If with this control panel having a generator receptacle, if the city wants to test at the same time that we're there during startup, we'd have to coordinate them having their portable generator on site during startup so that we could test that functionality too. It doesn't always happen due to scheduling conflicts, but it's always ideal to test every function at the same time.
Okay. Our main power is 208 3-phase, right?
Yeah, that's what I saw. 208.
Oh, 480. We don't have 480, so.
No, yeah, we have two. Yeah, we've designed this 208 3-phase.
Okay.
Okay, one more question on the electrical there.
Yep.
The pumps that are getting lowered, the sensors and everything, the cable, will that cable be long enough to get all the way back to the control panel?
Well, that depends on where the control panel is located, because it
How long will
looks
how long will the cable be on those pumps? So I can figure out where that control
just
panel needs to
decide where
go.
the control panel is. Okay,
Great.
Yeah.
I need a
let's
control panel
look.
location.
Yeah, I think. So let me find out.
Yeah, if their cable's long enough, then I won't pull any other cable with it.
Do you
If their
see
cable's not
any
long enough, then
reason
we
that
gotta terminate.
control panel and these lift station system
It's always safe
to be
run their cable.
caged in?
Caged
For
in.
security, tamperment, like we got some
That's
homeless shelter going on here.
we don't design. We don't make those decisions as far as design goes as to whether or not you need this control panel secure. That's kind of
Okay.
up to the site engineer, and those decisions made based on what this site is and who's going to be around. It doesn't hurt to always have a little more security if you wanted to like fence this in. It just it
Okay.
kind of depends on where it's at and who's around and what your trust in
Back to
wherever this will
fundamental,
be.
what's your power requirement other than 208 3-phase? Do you need an auxiliary like 20 amp breaker for service maintenance or anything like that, or lightings or anything like that?
No, I don't
is-
think so. I think we
Is it
do.
What do you feed it into?
Typically, any of these that we've done, there's usually like a CMU block building that there's equipment in, and then nearby we have one of these pump stations. And the only thing that's typically there would be maybe a wall pack on the building itself, but we don't have that here. We already got lighting around everything else.
Okay.
There's power on the outside near all the panels. So unless you want to install like a 120 volt outlet, like within 25 feet for servicing needs, then that may be the only thing I want to look into. You may want to RFI it.
Do you know which breaker, which building coming up?
Building 8 has
Building-
quite a few.
Okay. All right.
Now, I'm sorry, you were looking into the length of that cable, so we knew.
Oh
how
yeah,
far-
I did just see.
And then you got cut off there.
No worries. I got our QC inspection forms. We've got 100 feet on these pumps.
Okay, perfect.
The level sensing I think is probably a little shorter. Those are typically like, is it 60 meters? Let's see. 30 meters. So close to 100 feet. So, by the time you get down to 20 meters, so a little over 60 feet, by the time you get down, what's that? It's almost 20 feet. You've got, let's just say you've got 20 feet of cable in the wet well by the time it turns off the hanger and gets into the conduit. And then whatever length of your conduit run is, and then, the vertical run up into the control panel. You've got, we'll say, 80 feet of pump cable outside the wet well, and then probably 40 feet for level sensing.
Okay, thank you.
All right.
So we want to keep that in mind when we locate the control panel.
Okay, anything you want to share from your screen?
For mine, I think we've gone over everything. So we'll provide these lifting clutches. They'll be in the accessory pallet when our system delivers. I know we've had some issues with
comes with the structure?
Yeah, this will be in the accessory pallet, and you'll be using these to lift the concrete equipment. They're yours to have. We don't need these back. And I know we've had some delays on delivery. So we'll have to coordinate to see if when when you take delivery, if it's going to go immediately to installation or if it gets set aside. We'll have to coordinate on that, but you will have these lifting clutches available to you in the accessory pallet to lift the concrete, whether it be to set aside or to install.
Okay.
I think, we've got the ladder into the valve vault shipping separately because you'll have a riser before the top slab, so we couldn't put that in, but simple assembly. Here's a picture of the discharge elbows already installed and the hatch. And I think, everything in the valve vault's already installed. So based on our construction drawings, the only thing, the scope of work outside of our prefabrication is everything in blue. It's supplied, but it's not prefabricated.
Okay.
So
Thank you so much, Andrew, and give us the contact of Tom later on when you guys decide. And I'm looking and I'm tracking the schedule item number. Yeah, 479 or Romtech substructure delivery after July 4th. Let us
Okay.
know EPA on that. And when we are in a situation that dewatering, excavation, concrete, slurry coming up, we're ready. And after the bottom inspection, we'll give you 1 week notice and confirm 72 hours, and day before confirm that too.
Sure.
And crane's already on site. And once we do the lift station installation, we come up with the backfill about 2 feet below, do the drain piping, then set the valve vault, and we set the GI next to it as well. And all this time dewatering still going on. And I want to schedule your startup pretty much right after. So set them, hook them up, and the PLC and the control panels are here already. So we're gonna schedule that right away. Actually, that got nothing to do with the dewatering. How do you test it without extra sewage? You do that with the water?
So that's one thing we'll need at startup is we'll need a way to fill up the wet well probably 3 to 4 times to test the pumps, make sure everything's working. So whether that be, if you've got a hydrant nearby or if you've got to get a tank of water, we'll need that to test drawdown on the pumps and make sure level sensing's working. So keep that in mind. What we'll do, Jay, before startup is I'll as I check in with you after installation, you've already got the control panel. Sounds like that can be installed pretty quickly. And then once the conduits are set through the wet well, I'll send you a checklist and ask for some photos. My engineers will review it and come up with a punch list of things they might have noticed that need to be completed before startup, but we'll get you on the schedule as quickly as we can.
Okay. All right, sounds good. I downloaded and printed out the sample install report, pre-startup checklist, start report and all that. So we're ready. I got the instructions for electric and the mechanical part here. Any questions, any comments? Okay. All right, so we're gonna have the dewatering in about 2 weeks. So once we reach our target level, we're gonna coordinate it. We'll give you a weekly update and go from there.
Okay, that sounds good. Yeah, we've got the system ready to ship. So as soon as you're ready for it, we can schedule our advisor to be there the day it delivers so that you can get it right off the truck and into the hole.
Yeah. Yeah, we may want to get that generator on site. We're gonna need power to this. To do the startup. Yeah.
So yeah, we gotta get the generator standby here.
Yeah.
To run the system, of course.
Yeah. Yeah, we'll need to work with that.
Okay.
All right. Well, let me know if you
Alrighty,
have any
thank you,
more
Andrew.
questions. Yeah, thank you guys.
All right. Okay.
Oh, no.
Thank you, guys.